When we first received word of Kinect Star Wars, it was revealed at E3 2010 under an exaggerated mock-up video. The second time it appeared with actual gameplay at E3 2011, it was met with mixed results from the game community. The game disappeared from the face of the earth soon after that, and no new gameplay has been shown until release. Now we get to find out if this is the motion game of our dreams, or if it should have stayed in a galaxy far, far away.
Welcome, Padawans. Each one of you is strong in the Force, brave, instructed in the teachings of our order.
Kinect Star Wars is full of various types of motion gameplay mechanics. The main focus was obviously put into the Jedi Knight story. A full campaign surrounds Jedi Master Zane and the training day of her new Padawan learners. A routine day of mastering the Force on Kashyyyk quickly turns into an all-out fight for survival. This spirals into a series of mysterious attacks across the galaxy that the Jedi have to investigate. Players take an invisible lightsaber in hand and cut down the opposition. Swinging the right arm alone will swing the lightsaber and move your avatar. The player can use their left arm to direct force powers to lift enemies or items. Players can also advance by leaning forward and throwing their arms behind them to dash. Stepping lightly to the side will perform a sidestep maneuver for tougher enemies. You can even add a little acrobatic flair to the mix by performing a small bunny hop. There is a 1-second delay between completing an action and it registering on screen. It's not as noticeable when flailing your arms to cut down the random droids. The problem arises when attempting to jump or duck in the action sequences. The delay can cause a variety of problems with some of the obstacles. Quite often, the game will ignore your movements in and out of combat. The majority of the issues show up when the player is fighting in tight corridors. The player will occasionally get stuck against walls when fighting foes. When players are in the open areas of the game, the combat is much smoother in comparison. Basically, when the stars align properly, the lightsaber combat is fantastic fun. Due to the auto-targeting system being utterly abysmal most of the time, this is often a rare occurrence that ruins the flow of the melee system. Players will also take part in speeder bike areas and space battles, which are buttery smooth besides some small hiccups here and there. It's possible that the Kinect has an easier time recognizing simple upper body movements. Beyond the cumbersome Jedi adventure are a series of minigames to pursue. The first and one of the best minigames would have to be pod racing. Much like the extravagant sequence in Episode 1, players can pilot the lightweight tin can racers at breakneck speeds. Extending both arms will push the vehicle forward, and pulling back your arms will cause the vehicle to brake. Players can turn the vehicle by keeping one arm extended while the other is retracted. Be prepared to use your arms for throwing creatures off of vehicles, wiping down the windshield, and plowing into other racers. Pod racing is probably the smoothest of all the game types. It's possible that this was worked on by the developers more than the lightsaber combat. Now that I think about it, the Rancor Rampage minigame seems like a technical demo that made its way into the game. Players turn their body left and right to face new locations, and they can step in place to make the Rancor walk. You can consider it the Star Wars version of being the Hulk. It feels incredibly slow and clunky, and is quite possibly the least fun of all the minigames. The dancing portion of the game is typical for the Kinect. It luckily attempts to match what Dance Central has done with the genre. Players will dance to songs that were made specifically for the Star Wars universe, like Han Solo, Princess in a Bottle, and Kashyyyk. The players can select pre-made dancers and even some classic characters from the series. There are even some real-world songs to boogie to scattered throughout the game. The problem with the dancing is that it uses the same routines in all of the songs, so the variety and replay value is restricted to the song list itself. The last of the modes is the not so appealing Duels of Fate. It's probably the lamest duel you'll ever have in your life. Slowly put your arms out to deflect incoming blows from the boss characters attacking you. This will result in a combat clash between the two fighters on the screen. The player has to push out their hand in time with the glow on the lightsabers. This will give the player the chance to slowly attack in the most unappealing fashion possible. Players will never do enough damage to knock the boss out in one fell swoop, so they'll be damned to repeating the same fight again over 3 rounds. Star Wars Kinect is a feast for the eyes compared to most Kinect games. The cartoon shading, reflections, and lighting effects vibrantly jump off of the screen. The animation is slick and fluid for both the avatars on the screen and the vehicles rocketing across the landscape. The sound is straight from the Star Wars movies. Lightsabers, blaster bolts, and the music we've all come to love set the scene. The only audio issue comes from a loss of synchronization during certain cinematics. Swinging a lightsaber and becoming a Jedi is something that all Star Wars fans have wanted. Kinect Star Wars wants to be that game, and it seems like it was headed in the right direction. It's just too bad that the game stumbles on the same issues most Kinect games do. Some odd design choices and faulty body detection can destroy the entertaining combat. Kinect Star Wars receives a C from Half-Ass Gaming. It may not be a nerf herder, but it sure is scruffy looking.